What's up? Welcome to the American Gods discussion show. I'm Kari Lane, joined by my awesome co-host. This way, we got Flobo in the house.
What's up, Kari? Episode 9. Can you believe we're almost done this topsy-turvy, windy road of season 3?
Yes. The lake effect. I can't believe it's almost over. Next week's finale. But yes, we will discuss. We shall talk about it. All right. So what did we think of the almost finale episode?
Kind of about face when it comes to Mr. Wednesday's plan. It looked like this whole season was going to be like, oh man, war. And he's like, whatever. Which is very interesting. Again, someone who hasn't read the books, I am now hooked on the way this episode ended. But again, I have to wonder whether or not this could have been used in another episode. I'm not really sure this season should still justify having the extra tales.
Yeah, this had a lot kind of going on and not at the same time. It really does feel like a prep for the finale. We did get some questions answered, but I still have more questions. We have guard dogs. Yeah, so we'll see. I'm liking it, and we'll get into the different details.
Okay. She's like, I can't even.
Thanks. No, we get that Shard has launched. It's a little vague-ish on what the app does, but it seems like a self-help something. But you know what? I feel I'd be curious in a real-world application, because people are so varied that just because some app is popular, not everybody has it. Not everybody has an iPhone. You know, they have other kinds of phones. So it's one of those, I don't really honestly believe that you could have everyone on the same page. What do you think?
Absolutely. I do think that's the point. That's why they look at the amplification of the New Gods were. But I thought it was interesting that they started a whole new project, but it was kind of sly. It was kind of on billboards. One of the cool things about marketing is that you try to present the customers if they discovered something. So it wasn't like, get Shard now. It was kind of like, hey, if you want to be cool, be an in crowd, try this out. I think it's novel. Hopefully it pays off immediately. That doesn't become a dangling thread, but it didn't bother me that much.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. We have... Actually, we're going to talk about Shadow, and then we'll go to Laura, and then end with Wednesday, because that's kind of where things end. So Shadow, did you believe Derek actually committed suicide, or something else was weird?
Well, the thing is, when it comes to like the timing of it all, would be the reason. Had Shadow caught him, and the next day Derek was like shamed and decided to kill himself, I would have believed it more. But the timing was all off the way it happened. It looked like they were kind of at an impasse of like, okay, well, whatever, it's fine. Just stop stealing people's underwear, bro.
Yeah.
That's why I think something was up. But it took a turn in a good way, because it did confirm my suspicions about Marie, but now I didn't know they were together. But now they are. But yeah.
I was very suspicious. We've been suspicious of Anne-Marie the whole time. So it's like, yeah, the Allison coat as such a plant, which is sad. We learn why he went to Jacksonville, because at first I kind of thought, like, I forgot Sandy went there, and I'm like, oh yeah, and that totally makes sense. Like, if you really want to know, just go there. I mean, yes, he could have called, but go there himself. And Shadow learns, okay, Sandy's not there, tries to talk to Marguerite about it. That was really sad, which we'll get to their resolution. But I loved when Shadow was looking through the missing person reports, and the projection on the walls of the reports was so cool. Such a visual, like, feast for your eyes. You're like, so creative.
Yeah, I noticed that too, about like having, it was in camera, looked like it was like actual projection. And I was like, well, okay, great. It's because this series has no qualms of going full-on CGI for everything, but it does seem very like the microfilm. Seems very old school, kind of like old-timey. It matches the kind of paper the operation of Lakeside or Lakeside has.
Very theatrical. Like, you could see that in a play.
Oh yeah. That's why I think the fact that it was more real made it more serious. And I'm also on a side before I forget. I'm so glad they didn't actually go to Florida. I felt like that would have been totally filler.
That would have been a waste of an episode, yeah.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Be like, no, why don't we go there? So no, and then figures out, maybe Sandy is one of these missing kids too, which we kind of were suspicious about as well. So the Lakeside Festival and the coin and the trunk I was all, ooh, that's a woo. Only thing where I'm a little, I feel this is a little bit vague. And if you're watching, leave a comment what your thoughts are on some of these, any of the moments we talk about. But I thought it was very interesting. So I looked it up to be doubly checked. So yeah, we have essentially Ganesha. But why is this god helping Shadow in particular? It's not necessarily like they've had long conversations and it's like, I got your back. But Ganesha is a god of war, but he clears obstacles and paves way to move forward, and also a god of wisdom and understanding. So that feels very appropriate as someone to help Shadow of paving the way forward and moving along. But I mean, I guess all the gods just love Shadow of like, we'll help you out. Your dad sucks, but we got you.
Your dad does suck, dude. Well, that was the one god we didn't have, wasn't accounted for, was Mama G. Everyone else was either it was written off, where's the Jinn, or we saw Turner Box sometimes this season in today's episode. But Mama G kind of disappeared, and I'm thinking that was like, I don't say that the same. I'm granted she is on the same par as Ganesh, but I feel like that aspect is the one thing we haven't seen any kind of like audition to. So I was like, oh, maybe she might show up, because that definitely was Ganesh. That was like, to me, I was like, done. It wasn't in the water. It wasn't like, it kind of looks like it.
I know that was the ice symbol, and then literally the trunk. I'm like, okay, cool, but I'm kind of curious, like, how is Ganesha been following Shadow? I didn't feel I got how that all tied. I'll take it. I'll be like, sure, great. They've been looking out for him. They're trying to help him out. But it did feel a little bit like, what? I feel a piece was missing, but not we didn't go from A to C. We went from E to F. Right. Or no, sorry, A to F. We went really far. I'm like, sure.
Maybe he's like, almost a king of the gods, but like an avatar for them? And so all different.
Yeah, or maybe they.
It's like, no, I'm not buying that.
I don't know. But when he goes to check the trunk, of course, we find Alice in the trunk, which is sad. Of like, oh, she really is dead. So he falls through the ice, and we see there's all these kids' spirits down there. The thing another point where I guess my problem with this episode, with this plot line, there was a few too many like ambiguous things that, I mean, yes, I guess you could have interpretations, but I was like, can you tell me a little bit more? Because it made sense. Yeah, it made sense to have Allison's spirit there, that, she leaves the trunk. Yeah, she's been taken down. But why are the older spirits still there? Is this a time where they get released annually and then they get pulled back? It just felt weird to see. I would have been fine with all the other cars, but it's weird to see the other children's spirits, because it's like, but why are they still there?
Yeah, I'm with you. I feel like this was one of the few times, or many times, depending how you look at it, where it was shown very, very clumsily. I believe that it was just a way of showing that the kid being sacrificed was part of the trunk every single time, and not this particular year. But you're right. I mean, what kind of spirit's hanging out for 20 years on the water like, hope Shadow sees me?
Yeah, it felt really like, okay, sure. Yeah. But I mean, I guess if we're like Shadow and he doesn't know what's going on, we don't know what's going on either. But go with the Oshu coming out to the rescue, because it seemed like they helped him get out of the ice. Because we saw the golden outfit of one of those ladies, because it looked like the three.
Sure.
I was like, yeah, looked like three of them. But I definitely recognized the golden dress. I'm like, oh, cool. They're looking out for him. And again, we were like, oh, are the African gods going to connect with him and help him out at all as well? But then we jump to this weird fantasy vision thing, which I don't know. Were you skeptical at first? I was super like, what's going on?
Yeah, it's the very domesticated Shadow walking home from work. I'm like,
working out at the gym.
What? Yeah, he's like, where is the trapdoor? Let's wait for it. And then I got the grab, and I was like, oh, there it is.
Yep.
Yeah. It agrees, of course. Yeah.
See, she knew. My dog's barking at the craziness as well. Hey. Oh, yes. She's like, no, I don't believe it. I was like, wait, hold on. My lighting looks... Anybody watching, it's like, my lighting is weird today. I don't know why. I'll be like, I'll just hold my paper here, and then my lighting looks fine. There we go. I'll just do that. And then we have our...
Sounds like it's going to give you a cramp in your wrist.
Fizz! Oh, we got a head tilt. There we go. Anyway, that's my dog, Fizgig. Hi, Fizgig.
Oh,
She's hiding above the chair. So yeah, the technology people.
that's like an SNL sketch. You all right?
Yeah.
So the following.
Wah, 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 wah. I took no notes. Yeah. So we learned it's Anne Marie. The thing I didn't quite get, if it was clear, and again, if anybody noticed more, please tell me, because we're all viewers of the show, and people can maybe something you missed. I didn't really get a clear sense of who exactly she is / god of. She mentioned Norse, so I'm like, all right, she's part of Norse tradition. She mentioned having to owe Wednesday and favors, but I thought it was weird that I didn't feel the Wednesday we know now would be like, yes, sacrifice children to me. So it really felt like, but why is this tradition going on still? Maybe it made sense, like, I don't know, hundreds of years ago, but now it just, I felt that was also too vague of who is she? Why is this? I mean, yes, it's still going on, the prosperity of the town. This is not a new thing. Supernatural had a great episode of that too, of like, they sacrifice strangers and for the town prosperity. I just would have wanted more clarification that she is like, I am so-and-so.
Yeah, I'm with you there. We got the ideas of what the Norse god is, or Norse goddess is in this case, and I'm sure there's going to be a very throwaway scene next week. Oh, Emery, that'd be it, end of it all.
Maybe.
It does seem that like it was some sort of deal. It was like, look, Wednesday helped you out, whatever. I'll give you a corner of this country to do whatever the hell you want. By the way, I still owe me something to be named later, and that's an apartment for Shadow. But you're right. It's unfair at this juncture of the season that we have to come up with all those steps. Things to be like resolving, not planted here.
Yeah, it just left, it was too open and too vague. And again, the Wednesday we know now, it feels really like, what? Huh? It felt very disjointed. Like I felt there was missing pieces, and you could have easily had moments of dialogue that were just like, I am so-and-so, or I'm Shadow, it's your father, blah, blah. Even just their name would have been fine. I don't even have to say, I am the god of XYZ. Just right. Like, I'm blah, blah, blah,
I'm
tell me a name, even if you made it up.
Yeah, fair enough.
So then we get the other kind of sad. Oh, I love Chad showing up, and I'm like, dude, your shots aren't working.
Yeah. I'll just do it again.
He did. Yeah.
How about a third time?
Yep. I like that Shadow was able to grab that dagger that looks like it's kind of the original dagger, which probably was maybe the first sacrifice to this god. Because we get that quick flashback of native peoples of some sort, which I feel we've maybe saw that scene on a while ago.
It was an opening of this season.
So I like, though, that Shadow can see it, the water. I was like, oh, he's still getting his vision things and more powers. He's like, he's tapping into it better.
Well, that kind of goes to my whole theory, is that maybe like Shadow's going to be the avatar for gods in general. The war will be over because he'll be on top. Shadow.
I sort of cheated and Googled, and it was like, what is Shadow the god of? And I think you're on the right path. Even though it wasn't a long explanation, but yeah.
I need to know this now. But I won't. But I want to. But I need to.
He seems to be the bridge, which we've been saying in a way, and that's kind of what I saw. Because I only started the book. I didn't get too far. But now it makes me want to go back and read it all. So I thought that fight was kind of exciting. I thought it was really weird and cool that her blood is, flammable, and the entire place glows up.
Yeah. What a way to go out, huh? Goodbye, crew world.
Hey, yeah. So I'm glad that gets resolved. I hope Shadow's able to talk with Chad and be like, weird shit goes down, just so you know. Because Chad's not going to be able to piece that together. And,
I'm just like, Chad's been around for how many years in this town? And how many kids have disappeared? He's kind of like, what a coinky dink.
Well, that's what Anne-Marie said. She's like, if you really thought about it, you'd be able to put the pieces together, but people don't want to, which is very true. Hey, is that like modern society, that if it's going good for you, you don't care how it affects people negatively?
Message.
Obvious and not message to anybody out there. Yeah, so we get Shadow with Marguerite. She's going to move, which I totally understand. I wouldn't want to live in the same town that my child was murdered in. I'd be like, peace out.
That scene and subtext, all kinds of subtext. He's like, I like Milwaukee. She's like, not with you.
Yeah, he tried. I'm glad he shot his shot. Well, past tense does that phrase doesn't really work so well.
Shot a shot.
Yeah. So I'm going to shoot my shot. Anyway.
Shot a shot. You don't shoot it. You shot.
You shot it. Yeah.
Shot it.
No, because normally you say it's like, anyway.
I was shot. Okay. English. I can't do it.
Words and things. No, I like that he tried. He put it out there gently of like, hey, and then she's like, no, but it was wonderfully subtle, and he kind of was like, okay.
Well,
his eyes were like,
oh yeah, man. I mean, him crying in that hairdo, I just felt bad. But granted, it made it Marguerite's choice, because I think 15 or even a little 10 years ago, if that scene had been written by a different writer's room, it'd be like, I have to go, Shadow. I understand. I can't be loved. But it's not really about Shadow here. It's about Marguerite being like, I'm going to find myself. Listen, I like you and stuff. You can go get books, but...
I think they handled it well, and like that's probably the best breakup scenario you could deal with. Of like, we had a thing, it was good. She does need probably her own time to process life, but she's not closing the door on him. But yeah, it was kind of like, aw. And then she does admit that she kind of knew about Sandy, which is really sad, but it makes sense. Like we tell we're both weird on words today. We tell ourselves things to get by. So it makes 100% that she's like, yeah, he's with his dad. It's like,
I mean, she is a journalist. I mean, if she can figure that out, then I'll have serious questions about her integrity.
Right. Yes. We have, so anything else with Shadow and Marguerite and Lakeside?
No, that sounds crazy, man. Let's move on.
I know. I get out of that town. Laura and Doyle are kind of a cute ship. So does Laura have a thing for leprechauns?
Oh, definitely. She totally does. I mean, the Irish, oh my God, this one's so beautiful.
Apparently. She's like,
But allow me to gush a bit, because at Comic-Con a couple years ago, I actually got, I don't know if you can see this. This is the official 1 of 500 Mad Sweeney's coin from American Gods. And it says, look, Mad Sweeney coin on it right there. And so the fact that the coin has been almost like a plot device has like really warmed my heart, because I thought we were done with it after Sweeney had passed away. So it was cool that it was
that's big.
On loan between Liam and Laura. I actually like this one. It's actually one of the storylines that made me understand why Laura Moon is being the way Laura Moon be sometimes.
Yeah, their relationship was kind of really adorable. Another one of those, like, I'm going to lend you the coin, which was cute. Her, learning to wield the spear was a fun and sexy training session. But like, he wasn't trying to be weird or too aggressive with her. And she's just like, oh, hi, he's standing behind me. I have the spear in my hands. What's that other spear?
Hey!
I'm like, come on. Dealing with the spear in relationships, I don't know how we could not have some sort of joke about that. Yeah, when she's talking to him in the church, I really appreciated her kind of self-realization about she's often running to sex and relationships and wanting to be wanted. This is one of those, like, this girl needs today's society's idea of it's self-love, girl. You need to love yourself first before others can love you. And I mean, that's your, and in this situation kind of as a joke. But yeah, she seems to want so much outward validation and wanting that it's like, it just has led to a destructive path for her.
Yeah, and it could be possibly the end or not, depending on how everything goes based on our contracts and everything. But I will say that was kind of the most cringeworthy scene I've seen all season, of being like, so you want to do it? I shouldn't do it. I was like, oh, if I was a leprechaun then, I'd be like, do I just leave now? But Lee was smooth. He was hilarious.
Yeah, he's like, oh, it's just as I was warming up to the idea. But I also love his thing of there needs to be life after. Like, she's so fixated on this one thing, and that is kind of a problem because then you don't even know what you'll be doing after. And his idea of like, you need to think past that point, which I like. And also the way she's saying this, so does she still not believe everything that is going on? Because she kind of has like, yeah, I believed in gods and things, but you know, I learned that's BS. And you're like, but Laura,
yeah, you were dead and you came back. What do you want?
what more proof do you need? You're going to go you need a god-killing spear to go kill a god. Laura, I didn't think she was that dense, but I'm still like...
I think it's supposed to be one of those things where, like, I recognize there exists, but will not submit to one. But you're right. It does come off a lot of times as like, do you not see what happened to your ex-husband and his dad and you and your boyfriend, your current boyfriend?
I mean, I guess you could just do this. She was just talking about the God she was raised to believe in, and that she doesn't really believe in anymore. But the way I heard it was like, I don't know if any of this stuff is real. It's just like, what?
It's all in her head, apparently.
Yeah, that was weird. But anyway. One quick thing before the last chunk of it. We did have Technical Boy get out of Mr. World's trap. He kind of was like faking it and then like do and it's like bye peace and
it's a quote.
Yeah, that's exactly how it went down. Goes to the like hench people, and one of them he seems to destroy, and the other he's able to kind of hold himself back. And I think that's when he's still having the glitches, but he needs to embrace the emotion and is looking for the artifact. So
one of the craziest things I had to get used to all season is those faceless things. Like, I can't look at mannequins ever the same again, but I'm glad Technical Boy got out, and it looks like he has a path of what that is. But artifact, I'm still trying to figure out what that would be. Is it a line of code? Is it the shard we saw in the museum? Is it something shard? I thought we had an answer for that today. I was looking for it, but it's still kind of up in the air.
Yeah. What was it? I'm thinking Technological Boy, or Techno Boy, is going to be like, F you, Mr. World, and not stick with the new gods, or he'll be his own thing, because essentially you've been screwed over. Why would you go back to them and hang out? So we'll see. Yeah. So we have Cordelia finds Wednesday, which is cute and adorable. And that shift to going to peace talks instead, and the new gods have won before we started. It is a very different Wednesday, but I'm just kind of wondering if all of this building up on him finally made him realize that his plan wasn't really as well thought out as he thought it might have been. Because if he had planned it better, maybe, and it's just not the right time. It's not the same world that he's used to. If you can't just be like, we're going to war with the new gods, even though they're stronger and we're fractured. Yeah, it's like, no.
I understand story-wise why that makes sense. I mean, I saw Iron Man 3. I understand if Wednesday is on that arc, but that arc came out of nowhere. Like, just as recently as last week, didn't he not just kill Tyr? Like, I just felt like, oh, by the way, this is not a good thing. It was just so sudden for me.
Well, maybe losing Demeter and Tyr and killing Tyr has made him shift and learn this isn't quite same idea like Laura of like, I'm doing this repetitive behavior and it's not really working. So maybe, but the way his relationship has been with new gods, I don't know if I would necessarily trust them to do a peace talk, which we did learn of they meet up at the observatory and Mr. World says, oh no, we're dictating the terms. I was like, oh shit. And pretty much go away and disappear and die. I'm like, I don't like these terms.
These terms suck.
No.
It's a spectrum. Come on.
And Chernoborg, is fun having him back too. And he's like, who the fuck are you? And what's wrong with you? Did you lose your balls out there?
Yeah. Why not? You need someone to smack him around sometimes. Wednesday, I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I always go back to one of my two favorite episodes of the series was that Easter episode. We saw Odin go all ham. I want that back. I want it back.
Yeah, or he needs to tell Shadow or Cordelia where he is mentally right now, because I think that's the problem. Is we've seen him do this shift, but we need, as like a viewer of a show, to say, I've experienced this. I've gone through this. I did this. And this is where I am now. Like, I need to hear his thought process of where he is right now. Because just being like, I'm like, well, but tell me how you really feel.
But let me ask a question. Who does he confide to first, Cordelia or Shadow?
He might tell Cordelia because she's there. But he might tell Shadow because Shadow... No, I don't know. I don't know if he's gone yet, too. I'm like, well, we'll get to that in a second. Oh yeah, I did like I wore pseudo stars, my galaxy. Stars, the frontier to the future and map to the past, which I thought was very interesting. And I like that. And it was a good point of also the idea that all groups and religions have named them their own thing, even though it's the same thing. So I was like,
yeah.
Hey.
Some of those are like things I learned if they're real. Because I was like, oh wow. Yeah. They'll be Big Dipper or Ursa Major to me, but yeah, That was awesome.
Somebody else just has a different name, but we're both looking at the same stars, so it's like
deep
metaphor. Yes. And yeah, Laura appears. She's going. I like the fight and the weird kind of space it went into. The slow-mo. Again, wanting to know Wednesday's motivation was kind of weird that he just essentially stood there and was like, all right. I think he's also just tired now. I mean, he's an old god and just like, fuck it.
Right.
Like, I'll take it.
Yeah, it was interesting because everything points to being slow motion in that time, but so many other side things happened within that universe or only throne spear moment. You start to wonder, did Odin accept it? And do old gods, do all of them die? Or is there a chance for rebirth? Is there a Mr. New World version for an Odin if they were to die? Questions I have, Kari. Questions I have.
Right. It's definitely not answered yet. And speaking of other things that happen in that space, I like that Doyle came to rescue Laura. And I was like, oh, and then she threw him the coin, even though he got hit anyways, but maybe he's fine.
It's a giant pillow on the other side of the horde.
Yeah. Or, his leprechaun ability is super healing or something. I don't know. But maybe. Also, I'm just curious what it is because it feels like maybe Wednesday's been heading this direction, but it does feel sudden of like, oh, okay, we're done. We're done. Yeah. Okay. But we have ravens at the end. The ravens come to Shadow, which I kind of felt like a passing of the torch, because they're not with Wednesday. So they're coming to Shadow. So I was like, Because when it was the first one, it felt like it was just watching him. But now it's like when both of them were there, I'm like, oh,
wow.
Okay.
I got that from the light.
You inherited them.
Very, very similar. I got that same feeling, but from the light. When the light came to Shadow, I was like,
yes, that too. With the light coming there, I don't know what the light is or who, or it's just. I mean, he glowed before. He glowed, but he had a light before, at least with Laura. So I'm like, maybe.
Yeah, he exfoliates.
Yeah. He said he exfoliates.
Yeah, get that nice little glow going.
Yeah, scrub your exfoliant on and glow. Yeah. Was there anything else in the episode we didn't touch upon that stood out to you?
Not at all. I felt like the training montage was a little bit truncated. I get it. I think if you want to have the most dramatic moment, it has to come at the penultimate episode because Odin is chilling out on top of the spear that went through his chest, who looks to be dead, but is he?
Also, did you notice Odin noticed the bear mosaic on the astrology mosaic on the ground in the astronomy, in the observatory. There we go. The astronomy is and he avoided stepping on it, which is kind of interesting. And I had kind of wondered if it would have come back to it when he landed of where the spear landed, but it didn't. So I was kind of like, oh, well, that was interesting. Yeah.
So is he dead, you think?
I think he's maybe dead the way he is or has been for now, but I think he is not. I think Shadow will be able to talk to him one more time or at least communicate with him. I don't feel it's done in silence. I feel Shadow could maybe reach through the void. Because Chernobyl had essentially a message he felt from Zoraya.
Right.
he, called up to the heavens and the stars and saw, something for him that he felt was a sign from her. So
Who
maybe,
knows?
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely, there were a lot of vague things in this episode. So,
But
I
thankfully,
think we'll
or
see.
hopefully, or sadly, unfortunately, fortunately, there's one more to go. And there's a lot of things that I want answers to, especially some of the gods we saw in passing, like Whiskey Jack. Did he come back? Did we get Mama G? Does he come back? What's Shadow's path? What season 4 look like? Question.
Yes, you're like, tell me more. And then anything we've covered and talked about or didn't get to, please comment down below your thoughts on the episode. Because, yeah, I can't. We're already at the end. I felt like we barely just started. So it's like, what?
Yeah.
All right. But
9 weeks in and out.
Yeah, it's sad. Hold on. Hello. Yeah, thank you, by the way, anybody who was watching this live. I know we're kind of midday when we do this live, so it's cool if you're watching this later. We still love you, and we love your comments. Give the video a thumbs up. Make sure to click subscribe. And again, hello. We got Alyssa May in the chat, so hello. And I know I've had some other people comment on previous videos. Thank you very much. We really appreciate you all watching and joining in on this discussion of American Gods. And if people haven't watched American Gods yet, to go tell them to watch the show and then watch our discussion shows because we break it all down. I know we're all, still everybody's going deep in that binge closet of like, what is something else to watch?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that Netflix roulette is something I play all the time these days.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So yes. Thank you very much, Alyssa. Sorry if I pronounced it wrong, for tuning in, and anybody else watching this later. Again, awesome. Thank you very much. And let's get around to where can people find you online, Flobo? Boom. There we go.
What? You can follow me online at Flobo Boyce at Twitter or at Flopito on Instagram. And I'm on so many other shows. One more website to put on your little URLs. It's newamsterdam.com, KNEW Amsterdam.com. See all the shows I'm hosting.
Yeah. And we'll have an interview in a different way coming up soonish, right? That's soonish?
Yeah. 2 weeks in the horizon. I can't wait.
Right. Yay. Magic of technology, y'all. It's like it was before. And yes, you can find me online. There we go. Kari Lane all across the internet. And then you kind of saw it, but I wanted to give them a shout out. This is Espionage Cosmetics. They are called Hunter, but they're Predator pretty much. And it's if it bleeds, we can kill it. I was like, yes, and they glow in the dark, which is really cool.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, ooh, I just put them on, so I was excited to show them off. But yeah, so you all can find me over there. Over on Twitter, you'll see links to the Winona Earp after show discussion podcast thing that I am part of as well with an awesome team. So check that out, as well as here on my YouTube channel, cover Sword Art Online. That's done. But if you're new to that, check it out, as well as other reviews, long form reviews. And over on TikTok, I've been doing more like 60-second reviews, and I'm probably going to tape a new one today for a show called Tribes of Europa. So go check that out. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, tuning in, and we'll see you next week for the finale. It's crazy. All right.
What?
Yeah. All right. See ya. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye.